Hello friends and welcome to YouTube channel Freedom Tech, and in this session what we are going to learn. In this session we are going to use yolov8 for object detection, tracking and counting. We are going to detect a multiple vehicle class, also we are going to track multiple vehicle class, also we are going to create a counter for multiple vehicle class. So before we move to our practical friends, if you learned something from our videos, please consider to subscribe our channel. Okay friends, thank you so much and let's get started. So friends, as I mentioned, today we are going to use yolov8 pre-trained object detection model for detecting a car class, then we are going to detect a bus class, also we are going to detect a truck class. Then we are going to use our tracker for tracking car, bus and truck, and then we are going to count the frequency for going upside, also for going downside, for car class, for bus class, also for the truck class. So for that, this is Windows 11 machine. Of course you can use your Windows 10 machine also. So let's just start with package installation. Simply open Python IDE, then go to the tools, manage packages and search for opencv-python. opencv-python, first package, select it, click on install button, that's it. It will install opencv-python. Then we need ultralytics. So ultralytics, just search for ultralytics, hit enter, first package, select it, click on install, that's it. It will install ultralytics on our Windows 11 machine. Same steps for Windows 10 machine. So CV zone, next package, hit enter, first package CV zone, click on install button, that's it. It will install CV zone on our Windows 11 machine. So this is how we need to install opencv-python, ultralytics and CV zone package for this project. Done. Now simply for today's session I have created a new repository. I will mention the link inside the description box. You need to simply copy paste the link inside the browser, and the repository name is yolov8 multiple vehicle class. Simply go to the code and click on download zip and it will download our zip format repository. Simply open download folder. This is what our repository. Right click, WinRAR and extract with the folder name. Go inside the folder, again we have same folder name, and then we have our files. So first we need our video file. So vid.txt text file, open. Inside that we have our video link. Copy the link, close the file and open browser and open new tab and Ctrl+V. It will paste our link and then just hit enter. It will open mega cloud link where we have our video file. So simply click on download. So file I have already downloaded, so that's why it say just save. So click on save. In your case it says download, so just click on download button and download our video file. Done. Now simply move a video file from downloads, right click and cut and move the video file from downloads to our repository. Paste it. Done. Now simply let's just first watch our video file, and as you can see there is a road, there is a traffic also on the road. So we have here car class. As you can see there is a car class which basically going upside. So this is what our upside traffic, and then we have downside traffic. As you can see there is a car which basically going downside. Upside traffic, downside traffic. So we have both side traffic, we have both side car class. As you can see there is a car going and coming both side. There is a steel car, car class, and then as you can see there is a bus. There is a bus on going downside. So we are, as I mentioned, we are going to detect our car class, also we are going to detect our bus class. Then we are going to track a car class for both side, for going downside and for coming side upside. So same for bus class, we are going to detect bus class, then we are going to track the bus class for both side, and then in this video we have also truck. So as you can see, there is a truck. Simple. So same way we are going to detect our truck, we are going to track the truck. Also we are going to create a counter for truck, bus and car class for both side, for going downside and for coming upside. So this is what our scenario, our video file. Now let's just start our code. So let me close the video file, and I have mentioned the basic code because I have explained the basic code for yolov8 in several previous videos. So I have created a playlist. Simply watch the playlist, then you will get the idea how to use yolov8 for object detection with the help of Python and opencv. Simple. So in main h.py I have mentioned the basic code where we have our single detection, our single class detection, single class object detection with the help of yolov8. So this is what our basic code. Simple. And then as you can see, this is what our detection, object detection. So we have coordinates, rectangle coordinates for drawing the rectangle when we detect our classes, when we detect our vehicle classes. So x1, y1, x2 and y2 is there. And then here it is, as you can see, I have mentioned the condition because we are not going to detect only single class, which is car. We are going to detect here multiple vehicle classes. So we want to create a list for each class separately. Means suppose I want to detect a car. So I want to create a car rectangle coordinates. When we detect a car, we want to create a separate list for a rectangle coordinates. So here it is, as you can see, I have mentioned here it is what our coordinates x1, y1, x2, y2 with the help of our yolov8 pre-trained object detection model. So then this is the C. C is basically our class list. So our class list is here. As you can see, this is what our class list variable which represent our coco.txt file, a classes file. Simple. So if we detect a car, if there is a car in C, so C is basically our class list. So if we detect a car in our video, we are going to create a list which is list dot append, and inside that we are going to append our rectangle coordinates. So now here it is, as you can see, I have mentioned the list. So in this list we have only car rectangle coordinates. Means because we mention here a condition, if there is a car class, only then we are going to append all the rectangle coordinates of the car class. So if there is a car in C, list dot append and x1, y1, x2 and y2 list. So in this list we have only a car rectangle coordinates. Simple. Then elif, if we detect a bus from our video file, if we detect a bus, then again we are going to create list 1, new list, list 1 dot append, and again simply we are going to append our all rectangle coordinates. So in list 1, we have bus rectangle coordinates, the x1, y1, x2 and y2, and then the last one our truck class. So if we detect a truck, again we are going to create a new list which is list 2, and inside that we are going to append x1, y1, x2 and y2, and these coordinates we are going to save inside our list 2. So the list only for car class, list 1 only for bus class, and list 2 only for truck class. That's it. Now simply this is our detection, the object detection with the help of yolov8 pre-trained model. Now we detect our object. Now we want to track our objects. For that we have our tracker. So if we want to use our tracker, we want to send our detected object rectangle coordinates in our tracker. For that, simply as you can see, bbox id x is just a variable. bbox id x is equal to our tracker variable. Here it is, as you can see, our tracker variable. This tracker variable represent our tracker class from our tracker file, which I have mentioned inside our same repository. As you can see, tracker.py. This is the file. So from tracker, this file, we have our tracker class. So here tracker is just a variable which represent our tracker class. As you can see, T is capital. So tracker. That's it. So now we have our tracker variable ready. So we can simply call our tracker variable bboxidx is equal to tracker dot update function. From our tracker.py file, we have update function. So bboxidx is equal to our tracker variable dot update function, and inside that, if we want to track our car class, simply we want to mention our list, because the list, as I explained already, this list is dedicated for only car class. So if we want to track a car class, we want to send our car class rectangle coordinates inside our tracker. For that, list simply mention like this way, tracker.update, and pass the list. Now we successfully send our car class rectangle coordinates inside our tracker. Now tracker will again track that object and it will assign the unique ID for object. Means it will again create a new rectangle coordinates. Also it will add a unique ID for car class. So for that, simply we are going to use a for loop. For bbox is just a variable. So for bbox in bboxidx. So for bbox in bboxidx, now as I mentioned, now we will get new rectangle coordinates along with unique ID. Simple. So x3, y3, x4 and y4, new variables for rectangle coordinates, x3, y3, x4, y4, and then id1 is for the ID. All this is our bbox. That's it. Now we need a center point for our car class, because when we detect our object, we have rectangle, then we need a rectangle center point, because we want to create our counter. For that, we want to mention a condition. So for condition, we need object center point. So cx3, just a variable, cx3 int x3 plus x4 divided by 2. This is how we will get our cx3. And then cy3 int y3 plus y4 divided by 2. This is how we will get our cy3. So we have now our cx3 and cy3, which is our circle point. So now with the help of this, we can draw our circle. As you can see, cv2.circle method, and cx3 and cy3, then radius, color, and because we want to fill our circle, so mention -1, as simple as. Then we have our rectangle coordinates. So cv2.rectangle method, x3, y3, x4 and y4, then the color, pink color, and then the thickness of our rectangle, which is 2. Then we are going to put our car class ID. Means we have now ID for each car. So we are going to put our ID on our car rectangle top left corner. Here it is, as you can see. The rectangle top left corner is basically x3 and y3. That's it. So now we have a car detection, also we have car tracking. So let's just start our code first. Now it will download our pre-trained object detection model. Then it will detect a car class. Also it will track a car. Also it will assign the unique ID for each car, because we mention here. Simple. So now as you can see, it's now downloading yolov8s.pt, which is pre-trained model. So it's successfully downloaded, and then as you can see, there is a car coming upside. Here it is, as you can see, and we have a rectangle coordinates, a center point which is basically in blue color, and then on the rectangle top left corner we have unique ID. For this car we have 3. For this car we have 4. There is a center point rectangle. So here it is. For this side also, for going down side also, we have car, there is a center point, blue color center point, and there is a unique ID which we assign with the help of our tracker for each car, for both side. For both side we are now detecting our object, we are now tracking our object, also there is a center point. Done. So we are going to start a detection tracking both side using a single class. Simple. So let's just start step by step. So we detect our car class, we track our car class. Now we want to create a counter for both sides. So let's just say I just want to first detect a car which basically go upside. So I want to create a counter for going upside only for car class. Simple. So we detect a car class, we track our car class. That's it. Now here it is. As you can see, I have mentioned here two line with the help of cv2.line function. I have mentioned here two line. So green color line, as you can see, the cv2.line, green color line 02550 is our first line. Let's just say first line, and red color line is basically our second line. Simple. So let me freeze our frame. Save the code, run the code. So we started our frame. So with the help of our mouse event function, as you can see, I have mentioned here mouse event function in code. Here it is. This is the mouse event function, mouse move function basically, cv2.event mouse move. This is the function which when you move your mouse on your frame, on the frame like this way, I am moving. Inside the shell, as you can see, inside shell we have x and y coordinates of our mouse cursor for particular point. So let's just say I want to draw a line. So if I want to draw the line like this, which I have already drawn on the frame, green color line, so I need to simply move my cursor over here. And then inside shell, as you can see, there is a coordinates which is 1 and 184. So 1 is basically our x and 184 is basically our y coordinates. So how do we draw our line? Simple. For drawing our line, we need start point xy coordinates and we need end point xy coordinates. So this is what my start point xy coordinates, which is 1 and 184. So I have mentioned like this way, as you can see, cv2.line 1 and cy1. So the cy1 is basically our coordinates, y coordinates. So here it is, as you can see, cy1 is basically 184. So instead of mentioning the digit, I have mentioned cy1. Simple. Instead of mentioning the 184 number, I have created a cy1 because we are going to use this cy1 for our condition, for our if condition. So simply mention our first line, cv2.line y coordinate like this way. You have to mention y coordinate over here, create a new variable which is cy1 and mention the y coordinates number, which is the 184 in my case. So 184 cy1. So instead of 184, we are going to mention here cy1. Simple. And then this is the end point of our line, this one. So if you move your mouse cursor over here, you have 1018 and 183. So 1018, and instead of mentioning the y coordinates, simply mention cy1 because we want this both y coordinates same. So instead of mentioning the number, simply mention number, the y coordinates number over here. Here it is 184, and mention the number as cy1 and then simply mention cy1 for both start point and end point, the y coordinates, cy1 and cy1. Same for the second line. As you can see, same for the second line. You will get the coordinates, xy coordinates for start point, for end point xy coordinate. So instead of mentioning the number for y coordinates, I have mentioned the y coordinates same way. 209 is basically y coordinate of our second line, which is red color, and I have mentioned cy2 is basically our y coordinates 209, and instead of y coordinates I have mentioned cy2 for both side, for start point and for end point. Simple. I hope you all clear. So this is how I have draw here a line which we are going to use for creating a counter. Basically this is what my region of interest area. This two line is basically my region of interest area. Means when we have center point, as you can see, if I skip the frame, this is what my object, and it has a rectangle, also it has a center point, also we assign the unique ID for our object which is car class. So if the object rectangle center point, when this center point touch my first area, means first line which is in green color line, if this center point touch a green line, then only we are going to start our detection, then only we are going to track our object. Otherwise we are not going to detect our object. For that we create our two line, because this is how we can say there is a detection, there is a tracking, and then it is really easy to create a counter for multiple vehicle classes. Simple. So if the center point touch our green color line, simple. So if the center point touch our green color line, in that time simply we are going to save this car ID which is 0, also this car center point coordinates which is xy coordinates. So when this car touch our green color line, we are going to create a dictionary, and inside that dictionary we are going to save their coordinates, their current position. Their current position means cx3 and cy3 is basically our center point, this car center point. So we are going to save their center point and their unique ID when this car rectangle center point touch our green color line. So for that I have create here a dictionary for all classes. I have already mentioned the dictionary. For going up car class we have mentioned up car dictionary. So for downside I have mentioned down car and the dictionary. Then for bus, as you can see, down bus dictionary, then up bus there is dictionary, and then we have truck also. Down truck, as you can see, down truck the dictionary. There is no truck is basically a coming upside, so I have not mentioned here any up truck dictionary. But suppose if you have different scenario and in your case there is a truck also coming upside, you can same way mention the up truck dictionary, and inside that dictionary, as I explained, inside that dictionary we are going to save when our object center point touch our first line. In that time we are going to save their current position and their ID inside all these dictionary. For each classes we need to mention separate dictionary. For car class mention separate dictionary, for bus class mention separate dictionary, for truck class mention separate dictionary. For both side means for coming upside mention separate dictionary, for going downside mention separate dictionary, which I have already mentioned here in the code. Simple. Now I have explained all these things. Now we are going to start our practical. So we have our center point. So simply if the center point touch our green color line, so here this is what our detection. As you can see we are tracking our car class. So now first condition, if our car center point touch our green line, so for green line we mention cy1. cy1 is for the green line. So simply also we need here offset, so I have already mentioned the offset value for 8. That's it. Now let's just start our code. So here, if first we are going to create a counter for going upside only for car class, going upside. Okay. So if cy1 is for green color line, which is our first line. So when car want to go upside, first it will touch our green color line. As you can see, first it will touch our green color line, then the same car will touch our red color line. So if cy1, if it is less than our cy3, center point of our rectangle, which is cy3, so mention cy3 plus offset, which we already mentioned here. Here it is, offset, as you can see. So offset and cy1 if it is greater than cy3 minus offset. If cy1 less than cy3, which is our rectangle center point for car class, plus offset, and cy1 if it is greater than cy3 minus offset. This is what our condition. The condition, the meaning of this condition, when the car center point touch our green line, then only we are going to draw a center point, then only we are going to draw a rectangle, then only we are going to put our ID on our object rectangle top left corner. Now simply save the code, and if I run the code, so as you can see, there is a car, but there is a no detection, there is a no tracking, there is a no ID for this car, because this car is not crossing our first line, which is green color line. When this car center point touch our green color line, in that time only we have rectangle, center point and ID. So let's just keep the frame. So I am skipping frame, and when this car center point, as soon as it touch the line, then as you can see, we have pink color rectangle, we have blue color center point, and we have unique ID for this car, which is 0. Simple. Then again, when the car cross our first line, again there is no detection and nothing. Simple. So as I explained previously, this is what our first condition. When car center point touch the green color line, which is the first line, only that time we have detection and all other things. So now the next condition, what is our next condition? When car touch a green line, which is the first line, in that time we are going to save their ID and their current position in our dictionary, which we create for going upside, only for going upside, not for downside. Simple. So we create upside dictionary for car class is up car. So inside the dictionary we are going to save their current position and their unique ID when car touch our green color line, first line. Simple. So let's just say here, this is what our condition. After that, we want to save their ID and their current position. So call the dictionary up car. This is what our dictionary name. Cross check up car. Okay. Up car. Then what we are going to save? We are going to save ID 1. ID 1 is for car class. So up car ID 1 is equal to our center point. Our center point is basically the current position of our car class. When car touch our first line, the current position is basically their center point. So simply mention cx3 and cy3. Done. Now if you go here and if you print our dictionary, which is up car, let's just save the code, and if you run the code, so now there is nothing, because the car center point is not crossing our first line, and inside shell, as you can see, there is an empty dictionary. and when car center point touch our line, first line which is in green color, in that time, as you can see now inside dictionary we have 0 ID for the car and their center point, their current position when car touch our green color line. That's it. So we are successfully saving their ID and their current position inside our up car dictionary. That's it. Now what is our next condition? Same condition. We are only going to now cross check that the same ID is touching our second line. Means we are saving our car position and their unique ID inside our up car dictionary. So from up car dictionary we are going to cross check that the same ID which already we save inside our dictionary, if the same ID is crossing our second line, or we can say second area which is in red color. So for that, from dictionary we are going to call our ID. So here after that, if the ID1 which we assign for car class, if the ID1 in our dictionary, up car dictionary, means we are going to cross check if the ID is available inside our dictionary, only those ID we are going to cross check. Otherwise we are not going to cross check any other IDs. Simple. So if ID1 inside our up car dictionary, the same ID we are going to cross check when the car center point touch our second line. So for second line, this is what our condition. For center point touch the line, so same condition, only we are going to change here a line number. So this time we are going to mention our second line, because car is already touch our first line which is the green color line. So CY1 is basically green color line and the CY2 is our red color line. And then same CY3 the center point, and then after we are going to draw all these things. Now what will happen? When our car touch first line which is green color line, in that time we are going to save their unique ID and their current position, and then the same car touch our second line. After that we are going to, or not after that, basically in that time when car touch our second line, in that time we are going to draw a circle, we are going to draw basically center point and their rectangle, and then we are going to put ID1 on the car top left corner. That's it. So if I save the code, and now let's just start our while loop. Save the code, and if you run the code, so now watch, nothing is there. When car touch our first line, we are saving their ID and their current position. Also same car cross our second line, in that time we have rectangle and all other things. So watch, and as you can see there is a pink color rectangle and blue color center point. Also we are saving their ID inside our dictionary. Here it is, as you can see we are saving their ID and all other things. So now simply we create a condition. Now we can simply create our counter. So for upside counter, for car upside counter, we create counter up and list, and inside this list we are going to save the car ID, because our car completed our both condition, and then we know that the same car is basically crossing our second line. So we can simply say the car is basically going upside. So here simply we can say we create here our list, which I have already mentioned here, as you can see, a counter car up. So this is what our list. So counter car up, and what we are going to append inside this list, we are going to append ID1 for car class for going upside. And then because there is some time for crossing our both area from green color line to red color line, it will basically count a same ID again and again. So for that, if counter car up, if counter car up dot count, what we are counting? We are counting ID 1 is equal to 0, means don't count same ID again and again. That's it. Now if you go here and if you print here counter car up, and let's just save the code and run the code. Now watch, the list is right now empty, but when we have first car, it will save their ID. As you can see, for first car we have 0 ID. It's inside our list, car counter up list. Then we have second car, their ID 3. We have next car and their ID. So this ID is in a list. So if you mention the length of list is basically our counter. Length of list is basically our counter. So mention the length counter car up. Run the code. Now inside shell we have count. Right now 0. First car we count 1 car. As you can see, inside shell we count 1 car. So now we are counting going upside car class. So now simply let's just put our counter on the frame. So copy the cvzone put text method and here mention the method, and now our counter length counter car up, we want to mention here a variable. So let's just say C up, car up is equal to length of counter car up. So here we want to mention a variable. Let's just say up car, and then we want to mention inside this C cup. This is what our counter, this is just a variable, and then we want to mention a coordinates of the frame where we want to put our counter on the frame. So let's just say 50, 60 and 2 and 2. All is good. Save the code. If I run the code, and as you can see, we put our counter, car counter for going upside on our frame. So we count 1 car which basically go upside, 1 car. Now we have second car, so we only count 1 car, 2 and then 3. So we successfully create going upside counter. Now same way, only we are going to reverse the condition, means for going downside, the car first will touch our red color line, then the same car touch our green color line. So let me explain here. If I mention 0, it will freeze our frame. So for going upside, the car will touch our green color line first, then we are going to save their ID and their current position inside the dictionary, and then we are going to call those ID for cross checking if the same ID touch our second line. Then we are going to create a counter. Same way for going downside, only if the car want to go downside, first car will be touch our red color line, then we are going to save their ID inside the dictionary, and then again we are going to call those ID for cross checking if the same ID is touching my first line, which is green color line, and then we are going to create a counter. Same way, only first red color line, saving the ID inside dictionary, and then call those ID, and then we are going to cross check if the same ID is touching our green color line, which is the first line. Same way. So let's just mention here like this way. We have done with upside, so car down. Now simply copy all the code from here, from condition, copy it, check it is in line. It start from here, and then just press Ctrl plus V. Cross check if it is in line or not. Okay, it's in line. So as I mentioned, this is for downside. So for downside, car first touch our second line. So instead of CY1, we are going to first mention CY2, then the same center point. So there is no need to change the center point, only change the line. First it will touch our second line, red color line, so CY2, and all the things are same, and here also CY2. And then of course for going downside, we create a dictionary. So for going downside, the dictionary name is down car. So mention the down car here, down car, and we are going to save ID1. That's it, ID1 and their center point, and then we are going to call those ID from our down car dictionary, and then if now we are going to cross check if the same ID is touching our first line for going downside. So instead of CY2, CY1, and then we are going to draw circle and all other things. Only what we are going to do, for our knowing purpose, we are going to change the color when the vehicle class is basically going downside. So car class, we are going to change circle center point in pink, so 255 0255, and then the rectangle color we are going to make a blue. Then it will easy to detect, not detect, basically it will easy to recognize that our code is perfectly working or not. And then we are going to put our ID1 on our rectangle top left corner, X3 and Y3, and then we have our counter car down list. Here it is, as you can see, I have already mentioned counter car down list, and inside that list, when our car class completed our both condition for going downside, we are going to save their ID inside our counter car down list. Same way. So counter car down count ID1, and here also counter car down, and the condition same way. Please don't count same ID again and again. Now same way, here create a new variable C down, car down, and the length of our counter car down, our list where we are saving their ID. So length of our counter car down, we are going to put our counter car down on our frame. So just copy paste CV zone method, only we are going to change some variables. So up car, we are going to mention down car, and C cup, we are going to mention C down, and then we want to change the coordinates, frame coordinates, so 50 160, and the thickness and rectangle size are same. So just save the code and just run while loop. Save the code and let me cross check it is all good. Okay, it's all good. Let's just start our code. Now we have both side counter for car. Up car we count, down car, oh there is a typo mistake. Where is our down car? Down car is basically our dictionary. Save the code, run the code. So we have both side counter on our frame. Up car we count 1, down car there is no down car, 0, two, 3, up car we count 3 car. Now downside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As you can see, we are successfully counting both side cars, friends. We are successfully counting both side car for going downside, also for coming upside. So same way, now only we are going to call our different list for different vehicle classes. So same way, so we have done with car class for both side counter. Now let's just start for bus counter. So let me create here like this way. First, let's just say upside bus, up bus, and here now as I mentioned, for bus we create list 1. So inside this list 1 we only have the bus rectangle coordinates. So now for just we want to track our bus coordinates, rectangle coordinates, then we want to assign the unique ID for bus class. So let's just say here, because we mentioned same way for bus class, again we want to create a new tracker. So tracker 1 is for our bus class. So tracker 1 and tracker. And then here we are going to mention here bbox idx1. This is for our bus class variable. Bbox idx1 is equal to tracker 1 variable which we dedicated for our bus class. Update tracker 1 dot update. So tracker 1 dot update, and inside that we want to pass list 1 because we dedicated list 1 for bus class. Inside that list 1 we have rectangle coordinates. When we detect the bus, we have rectangle coordinates. So list 1. Now simply bbox1 idx1, or you can simply mention here like this way. Instead of bbox idx1 we can simply say bbox1 idx. Okay, it's really good. So now simply we are going to call our bbox1 like this way using for loop. So here let's just cross check our point. Starting point is here for loop. So here simple. So for again we already mentioned here bbox for car. So now we are going to increase the variable. So for bbox1 for bus class, for bbox1 in bbox1 idx, this bbox1 idx. So for bbox1 in bbox1 idx, for bbox1 in bbox1 idx, let's just cross check if it is in line. Yes, it is in line, it's good. And then we are going to simply now, as I explained previously, now we will get new coordinates with the help of tracker. Also we will get the ID, unique ID for bus class. So again we mention here x3, y3, x4, y4 and id1. So we want to increase the coordinates. So let's just say x5, y5, x6 and y6. And then id1, instead of id1, again we are going to increase the id variable. So id1 which we already dedicated for car class, so id2 for bus class. As simple as, friends. Same condition, only we want to change some variables, increase some variables. That's it. And all these things is basically our bbox1. Now simply we can draw our rectangle, and we can simply create here a center point also. So let's just first create a center point coordinate. So we mention here cx3 and cy3. So this will be cx4 is equal to int x5 plus x6 divided by 2 and cy4 is equal to int y5 plus y6 divided by 2. Now we can simply draw a rectangle and all other things. So just copy it from previous code, copy it and just paste it and just change the variable. So here let me make in line. So c2.circle, instead of cx3 we are going to mention now cx4 for bus, cy4, and then x3 will become x5, y3 will become y5, x4, x6, y4, y6, and this id1 we are going to mention id2, x3 and y3 will become x5 and y5. Now first it will detect our bus, then we mention here a tracker method. Now it will track our both side bus. So if I save the code, if I run the code, so our frame is started. We already done with our car class for both side. Now let's just wait for bus class. So friends, as you can see, there is a bus and there is a rectangle and there is a ID and there is a center point. It means we are successfully detecting bus, we are successfully tracking the bus. There is a unique ID for both sides. So now there is a bus only the going down side. Now the bus will basically come from upside also, and bus is coming and is detected. There is a center point and there is a unique ID. It means we are successfully detecting our second class. We detect our first class, which is car class. Now we are detecting our second class, which is bus class. Now same way, first let's just count up bus side, up bus class. Okay, same way, when the bus center point touch our first line, we are going to save their unique ID and their current position inside our dictionary. So for going upside, we create a dictionary and the name of dictionary is basically up bus. As you can see, inside this up bus dictionary, we are going to save the bus current position and their unique ID when the bus basically go upside. Simple. So here up bus, so we have center point here. So let's just first create our condition when the bus center point touch our green color line. Same way, if cy1, if it is less than, our cy4, which is our bus center point, cy4 plus offset, and cy1 if it is greater than cy4 minus offset, then we are going to save their ID and their current position inside a bus dictionary. So here this is the condition when our bus center point touch our green color line, which is first line. After that, up bus, this is what our dictionary, up bus, and then what we are going to save, we are going to save their ID and their current position. So their current position is basically cx4 and cy4. Simple. Now inside up bus dictionary, we are saving their ID and their current position. So now simply we are going to call those ID. Here we want to mention id2 for bus, id2. We are saving id2 inside our up bus dictionary. So now we are going to cross check if the same id2 which we assign for our bus, same id2 is crossing our second line, which is the red color line for going upside. So for if id2 in our up bus dictionary, if id2 in our up bus dictionary, only those ID we are going to cross check for our second line. So just copy the condition, and only we are going to mention here our second line. So our second line is basically cy2, and all other things are same, and here also we want to mention cy2. After that we are going to draw a circle, we are going to draw a rectangle, we are going to put our text, and here we want to mention our color. So for going upside, we mention blue color for center point and the pink color for rectangle. So same color for bus side also, bus going upside. So here the center point will become a blue, so 25500, and the rectangle will become pink, so 2550255. And then now we know what is basically happening here. So we are going to simply save their ID inside our counter. So for going upside we have a counter bus up. As you can see, I have mentioned counter bus up and the list. So when our bus completed our both condition, we are going to save their ID inside counter bus up counter. Simple list basically. So here we match our all conditions. So counter bus up. This is what our counter bus up dot append, and what we are going to append? We are going to append ID2, and as I mentioned in previously, it will count same ID again and again. So for that, create the condition if counter bus up, what we are counting? We are counting here ID. So ID2 for bus is equal to 0, means don't count same ID again and again. And then now simply here we are going to mention a variable with a length of our counter bus up. So let's just say what we are going to mention, we can say here C bus, let's just say C bus up, counter bus up. So C bus up, you can mention any variable. So C bus up, length of our counter bus up, and then simply we are going to put our counter on the frame. So here we mentioned 50, 60. So what we are going to do, first let's just comment our put text method for counter. Let's just freeze our frame because we want to know here if cy2, where is if cy2? I forget to mention here like this way. This is the if condition. Okay, so save the code and run the code. So we mention here up car and down car counter over here. So let's just mention here for our bus counter, let's just say over here. So 792.47, this is the coordinates. 792, and I forgot it. What is the coordinate? 7 here, let's just say over here. 794 and 43, let's just say 792 and 43, it's okay. And then we are going to change the variable. So now bus up, let's just say bus up, and then here we want to mention our counter variable. So our counter variable is basically C bus up, that's it. So if I save the code, if I run the code, it's okay. So we have now bus up counter. So let's just start our while loop. If there is error, we are going to simply cross check our code. But now let's just start our while loop. So we already done with our car class. So friends, as you can see, there is a bus which is basically going downside, but it's not detected, it's not tracked, because we create a counter for bus only for upside, and this bus is basically going downside, so it's not detected, it's not count. As you can see, bus up 0, because we create a counter only for going upside for bus class. So there is no bus is basically coming upside right now. So when there is a bus coming from upside road, from this road, then only it will count bus up. Still there is a 0. There is a 0, as you can see. So friends, as you can see, there is a bus on upside track, upside road. When it will cross over both condition, it's detected and we count bus up 1. It means we are successfully counting car class and bus class for going upside. Now same condition, only we are going to reverse for going downside bus. So let's just say over here, down bus, and then only we are going to change our condition. So let's just copy it from if cy1 to our where it is, from here, just copy as it is, copy it and just check it is in line. Simple. So we copy our code. Now only we are going to change our condition. So for going downside, bus center point first touch our second line, which is red color line. So instead of if cy1 mention if cy2, then all the things are same. And here up bus, we are going to change our dictionary, which I have mentioned here, down bus. Simple. So down bus. This variable you can change. I have already mentioned all this dictionary and counter list inside the code. You can change as per your requirement. So down car, where is the, here at the end, here it is, up bus. Now down bus, and then id2 and all the things are same. Then if id2 and down bus, then we are saving their id for going downside. We are saving bus id inside our down bus dictionary. Then we are going to call those id and we are going to cross check if the same id is touching my first line, which is the green color line for going downside, the bus class. So if id2 in down bus, then our next condition, so here we mention second line for going downside, then the same bus id will touch our first line. So if cy1, and then we are going to draw a circle rectangle and we are going to change our center point for going downside with blue with pink, and the rectangle we are going to make pink with blue, and then all the things are same. And counter bus down, and here also counter bus down, it's all good. And then here we want to mention C bus down. This is just a variable, you can change the variable. C bus down is equal to length of our counter bus down, and then simply we are going to use our cvzone put text method for putting our counter on the frame for bus downside. So let's just cross check, because we want to mention the frame coordinates. So if I start the code and let's just say over here, so 786, 73, 7, so let's just say 792 we mentioned for bus up, and this we can say 150, no 150 basically. Let's just cross check. Not 153. If I mention here 43, so let's just say 50. If I start the code, not there. If I go over here, 96. Okay, let's just mention 100. Okay, now it's there, the counter is there. Now simply we want to change our counter variable, so this will become bus down, and then C bus up, we are going to mention C bus down, C bus down. That's it. Now let's just start our while loop, start the code. So let's just watch. We have done with car class for going upside, for going downside. We are done with bus class for going upside, also for going downside. So now let's just watch a counter. We are counting a both side car. You can cross check the counter. We count up car 5, down car 12. There is no bus upside, there is no bus downside. (27, 28) car already count for downside, and now there is a bus going downside. As you can see, it's detected bus down 1. We count 1 bus for going downside, and we already count bus up, which is the 1 bus for this side. So we successfully counting here a multiple vehicle class. So same method for truck class, friends. So I hope you use the method and you will create a truck class for both sides. For both sides, same way, same method, and then you can create a truck class, or you can simply detect the truck class. Also you can track the truck class. Also you can create a counter for truck class for going both sides, for upside and for downside. So friends, this is how we can use yolov8 for multiple vehicle class detection, tracking and counting. I hope you will learn something from this video. We'll meet our next video. Till then, thank you, take care and bye bye.